Right now we have a blockade. They're doing no business. I didn't like seeing boats come out if they were doing business with Iran, but if they weren't, no boats came out. So now Iran is doing absolutely no business, and we're going to keep it that way very easily. Don't forget, their Navy is gone, their Air Force is gone, their anti-aircraft is gone, their radar is gone, and their leaders are gone. That's a lot.
The president's warning, if any Iranian ships come anywhere close to our blockade, they'll be immediately eliminated. U.S. Marines are ready to board Iranian oil tankers, and CENTCOM's ready to neutralize any Iranian fast attack boats that slip into the strait to cause mischief. One of Iran's surveillance drones flew too close to one of our destroyers, and we blew it out of the sky. And 2 tankers flying under false flags on their way to China were already intercepted and turned away. This is completely reversing everything Iran did to the strait. Now, every nation's ship in the world can sail out except Iran's. 15 American warships are involved in the operation. The mission to free the strait got underway this weekend when 2 guided missile destroyers sailed straight up the gut. The USS Frank E. Peterson and the USS Michael Murphy were the first 2 warships to bust into the strait since the start of the war. The regime threatened to attack if American ships entered. We did it anyway, and they did nothing.
A tanker, 460 feet of steel hull, running at 14 knots, straight toward the blockade line. It has not responded to Channel 16. It has not slowed. It has not changed course. In the cockpit of the aircraft overhead, a pilot has 4 options. He has already used 2. What happens in the next 6 minutes is not a question of firepower. It is a question of physics and doctrine. And the answer depends entirely on which aircraft the United States sent to hold this line, and why that aircraft, of everything in the inventory, was the only one that could. To understand what the pilot does next, you first have to understand what Hormuz is actually asking the aircraft to do. Because it is not what you think. The United States Navy is now enforcing a blockade of every Iranian port on the Arabian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. The world noticed. Oil markets noticed. Tehran noticed. Enforcing a blockade from the air is not a simple choice between fire and hold fire. There are steps in between, and those steps are the difference between a controlled enforcement and an international incident. The A-10C does not arrive over a blockade zone looking for something to engage. It arrives to be seen. The pilot orbits low, close enough that the vessel's crew can read the weapons configuration on every hardpoint. That is the first message. It requires no words. If the vessel does not respond to what it sees, it gets words. Channel 16, in whatever language applies. The second message. Still no trigger pull. If that goes unanswered, the third message is physical. An APKWS, laser-guided rocket lands in the water 50 feet ahead of the tanker's bow. The captain sees the splash. He now knows precisely what is overhead, what it carries, and what the fourth option looks like. That communication cost 1 round. After that, the A-10C stops talking. The GAU-8 targets the bridge structure, the exhaust stacks, the deck equipment, everything above the waterline that keeps a vessel that size moving and under command. If the tanker is still closing the blockade line after that, the engagement becomes what it was always authorized to become.
And you're absolutely right. What President Trump has done is taken that leverage, taken Iran trying to hold the entire world's economies hostage, has taken that off the table now with this action. I mean, we cannot, I can tell you from the United Nations standpoint, live in a world where 2 parties have a conflict, regardless of whether you agree with the conflict or not, and you have, I don't know, a country trying to shut down the Strait of Gibraltar or the Bering Strait or any other international waterway as leverage in a conflict. We've taken that off the table, and that isolates the whole issue to what President Trump has been consistent on since the 1980s, even since before he was in politics. We cannot have a genocidal regime with its finger on a nuclear button. Period. And I've got to tell you, I'm just thankful that finally we have a president who's actually taking bold, decisive action to take care of a problem before it's an absolute crisis and before we have zero options. And that is what have no doubt the Iranian regime was looking to build such a shield of conventional missiles. We saw what they've done with just what they had now. Yep. Imagine another year or 2 years, 5 years from now that it couldn't be dealt with, and then they were free to have a program.
If they put a nuke on the top of one of those, too. Yeah.
Yeah, Ambassador.
Won't divulge internal conversations. I will say that those of us within the intelligence community continue to provide the president with all of the best objective intelligence available to inform his decisions.
The last what the world wants is an insecure United States. We need a strong, healthy, wealthy, self-competent, not warmongering United States to keep peace. It's the way your president is managing things, President Trump, that is.
War in this context and in pursuit of peace is necessary.
They're not the bully of the Middle East anymore.